be kidding me.
Oh, AJ, you might be muted. It looks like. All right. Well, while AJ kind of gets his technical stuff worked out, because it looks like, at least on my end, he is muted. Welcome into the 8th inning stretch, everybody. Apologies for kind of our late start here, but somewhat like Ronel Blanco, we got into a little bit of a sticky situation with our internet. Yes, I know it's a low blow, but we're here. We're live. I will wait till AJ gets back to kind of go into the content and do all the reads and everything like that. But first of all, thank you to everybody who is tuning in either on our YouTube page, via X, as well as all of the other, anybody who's listening to this replay on YouTube or on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. First of all, if this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a longtime listener, thanks for giving us another chance here. While AJ kind of works on his technical stuff, let's just jump right in. We had the poll go out for this week. Who's the best hitter in baseball right now? Your options were Mookie Betts, Alec Bohm, Shohei Ohtani, Tyler O'Neill, or other. And the results in the poll went something like this. Mookie Betts led the way with 32%, followed very closely by Alec Bohm with 31% of the vote. Shohei Ohtani got 24%. Tyler O'Neill got 11%. And other received 2% of the vote. Kind of just initial reactions to this for me. Alec Bohm, certainly deserving of that 31%, probably one of the hottest hitters in baseball going into the month of May after a absolutely stellar October. Phillies on top of the NL East, so very well deserved there. Mookie Betts at 32%, though. Seems like a lot of you still are favoring Mookie Betts. Seems like he's a favorite right away again for the NL MVP, even out of position, which is all the more incredible and says all that you really need to know about Mookie Betts. Shohei Ohtani got 24% of the vote. Interesting. Definitely interesting. Thought he would have maybe gotten a little bit more, but, by the way, happy happy Shohei Ohtani Day to those in the LA area who celebrate. Tyler O'Neill only getting 11% of the vote was pretty surprising for me personally. He has been on fire as a member of the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox themselves, maybe not so much, but Tyler O'Neill is certainly not the reason for that. Very curious as to who the other is as part of everything as well there. But once again, to kind of run through that, Mookie Betts 32%, Alec Bohm 31%, Shohei Ohtani 24%, 11% to Tyler O'Neill. Other got 2%. Apologies, everybody. Just checking in with AJ to see if he's I know we were talking a little bit before the show. He had just got some new internet, so it may be a day of kind of some technical glitches. I'm on a different laptop today, which is why for some of you who may be watching the live stream, I don't have my usual Twins avatar, simply because my laptop encountered some struggles this morning, and then decided to load as soon as I got connected here and we were about to go live. So, but let's just in the meantime, we will keep on moving right along. Next thing here on the agenda, as we keep on motoring here, and of course now my laptop decided to have a moment where it dies. But I'll take this opportunity. We'll do things a little bit out of order of how AJ had kind of had them in our setup, and talk about the Book of Baseball. Again, huge shout out to all of you for your support in this series. It's been very cool for me to kind of see everything going on with that, all the hard work that AJ as well as producer Tasha have put into that series. Been very, very cool to. I know I'm following along. I hope you all are as well. Hope you are all following along as well. Make sure you also tune in. I'll take this opportunity to kind of plug everything else that's going on with the 8th inning stretch. 2-strike count as well. Our blog post in tomorrow's 2-strike count. AJ will be touching on Paul Skenes and his big league debut. Otani and Mizuhara getting a TV series, as well as some of his thoughts as we hit the quarter season mark of the MLB season as well. So make sure you check out 2-strike count, multiple different ways to do that. Make sure you follow us over on X at 8th inning pod. Apologies to everybody if I'm getting a little bit if I'm a little bit scrambled here, a little bit of technological difficulties on both ends, unfortunately, today. So with that being said, again, appreciate everybody for kind of sticking by us here, as we're kind of getting, as we kind of continue to work out these technical glitches. Apologies for my lack of preparedness, in terms of me kind of being the overall host for the first time. So we're going to get everything straightened out here, and hopefully still be able to put on a great show for you guys. Looks like StreamYard just did not like AJ today, so we should hopefully be hearing from him momentarily. And apologies, everybody. I'm just going to take a moment here, pull up, as we've talked about previously on the show, pull up our outline. As we've talked about previously on the show, that is one thing we use to kind of keep the show flowing. A lot of times it's created by producer Tasha as well as AJ to give you guys kind of a look into the behind the scenes portion of the show. So let's talk about Masanori Murakami for a moment, shall we? Pitcher over in the MPB who has been very impressive as of late. Probably one of the next names that could be making the jump over to Major League Baseball. Or excuse me, what am I saying? Let me just make sure that I've got the right name put in here. But yes, Masanori Murakami, as it turns out, apologies everybody. Again, I'm a little bit scrambled, but it does appear that Masanori Murakami actually threw out the first pitch at the San Francisco Giants Japanese Heritage Night. For those of you who may not know who Masanori Murakami is, Masanori Murakami was the first ever Japanese-born MLB player during the 1964-1965 season. So he came back. He played 2 years with the Giants in 1964 and 1965. So he came back to throw out the first pitch for their Japanese Heritage Night. Again, as we mentioned on the last episode, this month is also Asian American and Pacific Islanders Heritage Month. So in coordination with that, the Giants had their Japanese Heritage Night. He was also rocking, as I'm doing a little real-time research, it looks like he was wearing a warm-up jacket that was signed by his former teammates Willie Mays as well as Willie McCovey. So pretty cool moment there for Masanori Murakami. And just a pretty cool moment overall for baseball fans as we continue to celebrate AAPI month here in the month of May. Our next order of business, again, unfortunately, we kind of talk a lot about these on the show, but the passing of Dabney Coleman, an actor who may have been known to a lot of people, including myself, as Principal Prickly on Recess. He has passed away, sadly, at the age of 92. Again, Recess, one of the great shows for 90s kids kind of growing up. He also was in 9 to 5, Tootsie, the original Inspector Gadget in 1999, War Games, Cloak and Dagger. He was also apparently in the Muppets Take Manhattan, fun fact for myself. Again, a lot of the things that he was kind of in were mostly before my time, but I remember him most for his role as Principal Prickly in Recess. So thoughts and prayers obviously going out to the Coleman family. Wishing all of the best for them in this time of healing and in this time of healing, as well as it's never easy, right, to talk about someone dying. So but we'll keep moving right along as AJ has returned right as we're about to talk about Paul Skenes.
For now, sorry everybody. Internet is being extremely laggy this morning. Anyways, yeah, where are we?
We were just about to leading off talking about Paul Skenes.
Oh, okay, cool. Yes, real quick. I did want to mention about
AJ?
Book of Baseball. Or did you already tell?
I touched on it, but I told our audience, I was like, I feel like I'll save all of the usual reads and things for AJ.
Oh yeah. Yeah, basically, yeah, that was basically it. If you guys follow us on Twitter at 8th Inning Pod, you know that I was basically sick this entire last week. So, obviously, the new episode of Book of Baseball didn't get recorded, but I am going to do that soon. So, you guys in that. Here momentarily. The Giants game the other night, Carson.
AJ, you still there? Oh, there you are.
And I didn't even know. Carson,
hello.
You're there?
Yeah, I'm here. At least I'm pretty sure I'm here.
Okay, cool. This is ridiculous, guys.
Yes, apologies everybody. This is we're doing a whole bunch of different stuff here. We got new internet on AJ's side, we've got new computer on my side. Life is fun.
This is ridiculous. All right. Anyways, we're gonna press on. Yeah, the Masanori Murakami thing was a really cool moment. Carson, I don't know if you got a chance to see that him throw out the first pitch of the Giants game the other day, but that was pretty cool. First ever Japanese-born MLB player.
Yeah, which as everybody who was watching realized, I did not know. As
No,
as I was kind
me
of trying
neither.
to do a little quick Google search, because at first I searched up the wrong Murakami and found a pitcher over in the NPB, which in hindsight maybe might have been the right pitcher, but who knows. But yeah, very, very cool moment. And the cool thing that I had thought was that he had worn a warm-up jacket that was signed by his old teammates in Willie Mays and Willie McCovey.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Good stuff. And obviously Dabney Coleman passed away the last just couple of days.
But yeah,
it was something like 92, which hey, that's a pretty 92.
Oh, AJ, we still got you. AJ, you still there? All right. Again, apologies everybody. AJ, again, for the third time in this show, has gotten some new internet that we were talking a little bit about before we went live. And things apparently off to a rocky start over there. But we'll give it a little bit here to see. He's been a little delayed in my ear, so we'll give it a second to see if he comes back. Oh, there he goes. Okay. But yes, once again, 92, fantastic run for Dabney Coleman, and rest in peace. Let's jump right in here. Let's lead things off with Paul Skenes. I actually got a chance to watch this game, watch his second MLB start. Absolutely phenomenal is Paul Skenes. 7 straight batters to start the game off. That was just shy of the record that has been set by, as the broadcast so nicely informed me, Pablo Lopez, back when he was still a member of the Miami Marlins, struck out 9 straight batters to start a game. But very impressive from Paul Skenes. Not only did he strike out 7 straight batters to begin the game, but he also threw 6 no-hit innings yesterday. Not yesterday. Carson, come on, get it together here. Yesterday was Shota Imanaga. On Friday, en route to a Pirates 9-3 victory. That no-hitter broken up in the 8th inning. I got a chance to watch this game. Paul Skenes looked absolutely incredible. He looks to be as advertised. And if he continues on the trajectory like this, again, it's still very early. This is only the second start of his MLB career. But if he continues to go off like this, he is going to be a very impressive pitcher, very much going to be a threat for Rookie of the Year this season. as well as very much going to be a threat for the Pirates, for the NL Central for years to come. Once they kind of surround him with the pieces that he needs, because this is the kind of pitcher that you very much build the core around him, rather than trying to bring in kind of just supplemental pieces. Got to build the core around Paul Skenes. I'm sure the Pirates are very glad that they took the time that they did to get him ready, because he has looked lights out so far for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Moving to a broadcaster, actually, who, depending on what sport you're a fan of, either when I say this name will either cause you to groan, or potentially cause you to be very happy that he is going to be back in baseball. And that is the only Joe Buck, probably the most polarizing broadcaster in sports currently. For some of you who may not know, or who may have been sleeping under a rock, Joe Buck did used to call baseball games with Fox when he was a member of the Fox team. Did a lot of Baseball Night in Americas, a lot of postseason games as well. But since he has left ESPN, or left for ESPN, I should say, he hasn't really been as much a part of baseball. But he will be returning on May 24th, so in about 5 days from now, to call the Cardinals and Cubs game with Chip Caray, which should be a very interesting duo, to say the least. But at the end of the day, me and AJ have talked about this on the show, of, whether you like him or you hate him, you've got to respect Joe Buck. You got to respect Joe Buck for being probably one of the greatest broadcasters of our time. And this game is going to be, you'll be able to hear Joe Buck on Bally Sports Midwest. This would be the first game that he called since the Atlanta Braves and the Houston Astros on November 2nd, 2021. For those of you wondering, yes, that would make it Game 6 of that 2021 World Series. Harry Carey's grandson as well, involved in this, in Chip Caray, which is a pretty cool thing. So I can't necessarily find in my real-time research why exactly Joe Buck is just stepping in for the one night only. But very exciting, very cool to see. And welcome back to baseball, Joe Buck, and hopefully the Cardinals will be able to get a win for you. Let's talk about the Seattle Mariners. Not necessarily the on-field product, but something that actually happened at their game the other night. Mariners fan Josh George. Most of the time, most of us go to a ballpark and hope to catch at least one foul ball. One foul ball, even then, is a miracle. Not for Josh George. Josh George caught 2 consecutive foul balls on back-to-back pitches in an at-bat from Josh Rojas, which was absolutely incredible. Not only that, but the team invited him to go to batting practice with the team. So he got to join them for batting practice. He threw the ceremonial first pitch not once but twice, in a nice little cool kind of little twist of irony. But yeah, something that he for sure will probably remember for a very long time. Shout out to the Mariners for kind of making this happen. This is a really cool gesture that they definitely didn't need to do. So shout out to the Mariners for having that. And before we get into kind of our big story of the show, that being our title story of Ronel Blanco, there is some sad injury news that we need to mention. One of the big signings for the San Francisco Giants, Jung Hoo Lee, is going to be having season-ending shoulder surgery. Excuse me. Huge loss for the Giants. Obviously, he was going. Jung Hoo Lee, obviously still very early on in his MLB career. He's going to have time to come back from this injury. But for the 2024 Giants team, absolutely devastating loss to lose him for the end of the season. And the Giants have all but basically confirmed this. Currently, he was hitting 262 batting average, 310 OPS, 331 slugging, and a 641 OPS in his rookie year. Only 2 home runs, though, to speak of. So maybe the shoulder injury had something a little bit to do with that. But yeah, for this Giants team, currently 3rd place in the National League West at 22-25, 1 game back of the wild card at this point, 8.5 games out of the division. And again, obviously, we are very early on in the season. There's no real point in kind of standings watching here, but obviously a big loss in the outfield for the Giants in the loss of Jung Hoo Lee there as well. But let's get into our top story of the show. Ronel Blanco, who has kind of been the feel-good story a little bit of MLB this season, and I'm very glad that AJ is not here, because he'd probably hear me groan at calling an Astro a feel-good story. But it's true. Ronel Blanco threw a no-hitter this season, in his 3rd MLB season at the age of 30, and has been putting up pretty fantastic numbers. 2.09 ERA, a 2.09 ERA, again, a no-hitter, 8 starts so far this season, a whip of just about 1.056. Again, career best basically across the board. But it's very possible that now we know why. As he was ejected after being caught with some sticky stuff on his glove during his last start for the Astros. Punishment has come down from MLB. He has been suspended for 10 games, which, in my opinion, I thought was a little bit light, especially considering, how MLB has implemented these sticky checks to try and kind of crack down on this sort of stuff. But the thing that's really kind of getting me about this whole thing is that umpire Eric Brackus said that, quote, "It was the stickiest stuff I've felt on a glove since we've been doing this." And here is where my issue lies in the 10-game suspension. For a position player that's a true 10 games, right? They literally can't play in those 10 games. But Ronel Blanco is not a position player. He is a starting pitcher. So in effect, really, he's only going to miss maybe 2-3 starts, and be able to come back, and I think another thing that might be riling up a certain corner of MLB fans is the fact that it's once again the Astros getting caught with this stuff. The Astros once again who are in the spotlight for cheating. This is something that has been seemingly the Astros' MO, and another reason why they are considered to be, one of the villains of Major League Baseball. It's sad. It's honestly really just sad to see. And again, the fact that umpire Eric Bacchus said it was the stickiest stuff I felt on a glove since we've been doing this. Joe Espada, the Astros manager, said that it was a mix of rosin and sweat. And then, of course, the GM, Dana Brown, says that Blanco is a good dude. But I don't know. The 10 games feels a little bit light to me because for a starter, you're not really going to be missing all of that much. As AJ has rejoined us from the sticky situation of his own going on with his internet. At least I think.
Can you guys hear me?
We got you.
So I, desperate times call for desperate measures. I switched over to my laptop and voila. So maybe it's not the internet after all. Maybe it's my PC. But anyways, in any case, it's working. So something don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Yeah. So anyways, it sounded like you were just talking about Ronel Blanco.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, is anyone else shocked that an Astros player got caught doing something shady?
That was exactly what I was saying too, was that it feels like this is just it gives more ammunition to the portion of MLB fans that still feel like the Astros are the true evil empire.
I mean, what's that expression about if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying? I feel like that should be the Astros team motto at this point.
Or also, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, geez. I think we're up to like fool me 5 times, shame on you.
Yeah, fool me 5 times, and I think I need a lobotomy at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, if like any other pitcher, if I had seen that story, I would have been like, oh wow, it would have been genuine surprise. But I went, yeah. I mean, I don't want to speculate, but I guess that explains why, I guess now we know why he had such a good first couple outings, and unfortunately, I think it casts doubt on his no-hitter.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying at the very beginning, kind of rattled off everything he had accomplished so far this season, and with the precipice of, well, maybe now we know why.
Right.
And again, to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. Obviously these checks have been happening for the past couple of years. They happen in every start at the end of basically every inning. So it's very possible that this could have been legitimate, and by no means am I saying that he is inherently a dirty player, but
it makes you wonder.
When an umpire says the stickiest stuff that he's felt on a glove since they started doing these checks, that raises some eyebrows.
Yeah. Yeah, again, you don't want to go as far to say that, that the only reason he's been having such a good year is because of, he's been using sticky stuff, but it's got to make you wonder. It makes you wonder. It makes you question it, which is, just sucks. Like, that sucks for the player, it sucks for baseball, it sucks for the fans. Like, it's just, it's kind of, it reminds me a bit of, it reminds me a bit of the summer of '98 in the home run chase between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Although I have to admit, ladies and gentlemen, at the time, most of us were just like, oh wow, look at the way these two guys can hit home runs. It wasn't until after that we questioned, the fact that these dudes looked like, that they were bulked up to the size of Mack trucks. But in this case, yeah, it's got to make you wonder. Carson, the part that kills me about this is, the Astros in true Astros fashion, or at least Astros fashion since 2017. Astros GM Dana Brown called Blanco a good dude, and manager Joe Espada said it's trying to pass us off as a mix of rosin and sweat. Your player got caught. Like, your player got caught. Your organization has a history of cheating. Don't just own up to it. You're like, yeah, he got caught with sticky stuff. Oops, and move on. Don't try to, a mix of rosin and sweat. And if Blanco was such a good dude, why did he get caught using sticky stuff?
Yeah, I mean, again, you're gonna back up your guy, you're gonna back up your player 100%, but
not if he did something he wasn't supposed to. Not if he got caught doing something he wasn't supposed to do. Like, there's backing up your player, and then there's, I don't know. I guess you can back up your player and at the same time be like, look, this is unfortunate, it shouldn't have happened, and just move on.
Right.
Don't try to make excuses with, oh, it was probably a mix of rosin and sweat. Come on, dude. The umpire said it was the stickiest stuff he's ever felt on a glove since they started doing sticky stuff checks. Like, rosin and sweat isn't sticky.
Yeah, no. As far as I know, at least from playing, granted it might be a different type of rosin, but I also used rosin for my violin bow, and
right,
that wasn't
it's
really
the same
sticky.
stuff.
Wasn't really that sticky.
No, it's. I'm pretty sure it's the same stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm almost sure. But hey, hashtag Astros gonna Astro. Like, I don't know, right? Ridiculous. You probably already talked about it, but the 10-game thing. Yeah, just 10 games for a starting pitcher. 10 games for a pitcher in general just doesn't seem like enough.
Yeah, I've kind of was touching on that a little bit as
I figured
you came back in, but yeah, that was basically my consensus was, for a position player, that's a true 10 games, right? Like they can't play for a starting pitcher. He's maybe gonna miss 2-3 starts, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, a starting pitcher pitches once every 5 games, so, or thereabouts. Yeah, that's 1, maybe 2. He's essentially, basically, 10-game suspension, but he's basically only going to miss 2, maybe 3 games.
Yeah, which is insane.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. 10 games is not enough. I mean, if it were up to me, suspension for sticky stuff would be like, okay, 10 games, but make it 10 actual games for the starting pitcher. You got caught, you can't start. You miss your next 10 starts.
Right.
Or 5 starts, maybe, if it's your first offense. But yeah, I don't know. Astro's gonna Astro, I guess. Yeah, so anyways, that's where we're at with that. I gotta be honest, I'm genuinely surprised that he didn't appeal.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised too, but I mean, respect though for not doing, for not appealing and just kind of taking it.
Yeah, and just kind of being like, yeah, I got caught. Apparently he said he was going to appeal, and then the Astros said he wasn't going to, and yeah, I mean, you're gonna lose your appeal anyways, so
right. And what's appealing even gonna like we said, if you're missing 2 starts, what's appealing gonna even really do? Like, get it
Yeah,
taken from 2 to 1? Like, ooh.
right. And most of the time, most of the time when players appeal, yeah, it gets knocked down by a couple games. Um, so yeah, I mean, at this point, and also if you appeal, that means you have to wait, wait for the appeals for, an appeal hearing, and that just drags it out. So yeah, honestly, respect to Ronel Blanco for realizing, okay, if I appeal this is gonna drag it out even further, and I'm gonna miss even more time because you can't play, or are they allowed to play while the appeal's ongoing? I'm honestly not sure.
I'm honestly not too sure on that either. Don't I believe so.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I don't think they're barred from playing if they're appealing it. But then
I'm not.
once the decision comes down, then that's when it starts, I want to say.
Right. Yeah, I'm honestly not sure. I'm not sure how baseball handles that. I know in some other, um, I know in other sports, if you're suspended and you appeal, that you can't play while the suspension's being appealed. So I'm not sure how baseball handles that. But anyways, all right, that's enough talk about the stupid Astros. Yeah, that's pretty much. Um, so from on the field issues to off the field issues, um, Carson, this thing with Bally Sports and Diamond Sports has been going on seemingly forever. There's a court case or hearing. I think it's next month. But uh, basically MLB and the rest of the other. I think Bally handles. I think yeah, Bally Diamond Sports handles broadcasting of MLB, NHL, and NBA. The NFL, for all its other mistakes, was smart enough to nationalize their media rights. But basically, MLB, NHL, and the NBA are fed the hell. They're fed up. They've had enough of this crap with Bally Sports. Um, there was actually a. Let me see if I can find it real quick. There was an article. Where is it? Let's go to our trusty source, The Athletic. Sorry, everybody.
It's been a while since we've shouted out The Athletic.
It has. It's been too long. Yeah. Actually, while I'm looking for this, I saw a post. Actually, I think it was an ad on Twitter the other day, saying that it was an ad for I think it was called The Score. Have you ever heard of that?
I have, yeah.
And basically the ad was saying like, "Oh, this is the best sports app, period, blah blah, blah whatever." And I'm like, "No, it's not. The Athletic is the best sports app there is. Period. The end." So yeah, where is that stupid article? Sorry everybody. My all my technical issues this morning. I'm not my usually I would have had all this stuff pulled up already. Well, I don't think this is the article, but this is a article about it. Yeah, basically talking about could MLB nationalize its media rights. Basically, the NHL, the NBA, and MLB, all their lawyers all got together in court the other day or whenever it was. Yeah, I think it was the other day, and basically said, "Hey, look, Bally/Diamond Sports, enough is enough." Quite frankly, Carson, they're, as all of us should be, they're fed up with the uncertainty surrounding MLB broadcasts.
Yeah, and as they very well should be.
And I know this hits home for you also because you and I
Yes.
talked about this.
Yes. Yep. As someone whose team has their coverage through has their
Bally.
team coverage go through Bally.
Mm.
Honestly, I heard this on the radio the other day, and it very much rings true, and it's very haunting that the game, to kind of paraphrase what was said, the game that we love is less accessible right now than it's ever been before, and that's not good
Mm.
for the game. And that
Mm-hmm.
was something that I thought was really chilling. And this was also coming on the heels um, of Bally Sports, at least for Bally Sports North, which is our affiliate here in good old Minnesota. Um, Getting into a disagreement with Comcast and basically
Mm-hmm.
now blacking out Comcast viewers.
Yep.
Which I don't know if that's the same thing for just Bally as a whole. But again, that's yet another TV company that now you can't watch the games through. And it's already such a limited amount of companies anyway that you can even get Bally Sports North on, and the
Yep.
ones that you can get it on are extraordinarily expensive.
Yep.
As somebody who was in the process of moving, looking for TV, and I was trying to find options that had Bally Sports on them, and either the ones that had Bally Sports were either A, more expensive than the ones that didn't, or B, had Bally Sports but then didn't have like three different channels that I would have needed to watch anyway. So
Yep.
it's just ridiculous that at the end of the day it's all about greed, it's all about money, and
Yep.
at the end of the day, like I said, the baseball is less accessible right now than it's ever been. It feels like, especially for those with cable who might not really know a whole lot about streaming. And even
Yep.
then, there was a Twins game on TBS the other day, and it was blacked out for the Minnesota area, even though it was a nationally syndicated game. So, like,
Ridiculous.
I still have yet to have been able to watch a Twins game this year, and it's infuriating.
Yeah. No, it's utterly ridiculous. The fact that, and I know we're in a lot of people have, myself included, have cut the cord. Um, I do have YouTube TV. Um, YouTube's streaming sort of, cable substitution equivalent, whatever you want to call it, and it's great for the most part. Except for the fact that it doesn't have MLB Network anymore. So I'm forced to stream MLB Network from another source, a somewhat dubious source, but hey, I gotta get my fix somehow. Yeah, no, it's this whole thing is ridiculous. And it's not just it's baseball, and obviously we're talking about baseball, but it's sports in general, except the NFL. And I know, actually, I'm just perusing this article real quick. Basically, yeah, they're talking about how let's see. Yeah, the failure of traditional regional sports networks, simultaneous battle for streaming supremacy. Yep. So, um, yeah, some owners and executives, mostly in smaller markets, believe the best way to grow media revenues over the long haul is to centralize the deal making. Basically, nationalize, do what the NFL did, Carson. The NFL, like I said, has made its fair share of mistakes over the years, but one of the things they got right was nationalizing their media rights with NFL Plus and of course NFL Sunday Ticket, which is NFL Sunday Ticket's a bit pricey, but with NFL Sunday Ticket you can watch every game every Sunday. And I know it's a little different for baseball because baseball, the NFL plays, your NFL team plays once a week, your baseball team plays several times a week, but can we not just make MLB TV? MLB TV is damn near perfect. The only major pitfall with MLB TV is the blackouts. And the fact that you can only watch out of market games. But can we not make it so that MLB TV, so any fan in any market can watch any game at any time? Like, why is that not a thing?
Yeah, it feels like that should be the logical next step. And again, the frustrating the thing that I think pinpoints all of the focus on baseball with this whole Bally thing is because the frustrating thing is like when it comes to like the Timberwolves and the Wild, for example, during the
Mm.
regular season, I can still watch them in the Bally Sports app because I have like the Bally Sports streaming app and like the streaming subscription that I can watch games in the app.
But you can't watch the Twins.
But you can't do that with the Twins.
That's so stupid.
You have to be signed into a cable provider
Cable
in order to
provider.
watch the
Yeah.
Twins, which it's like, well then why am I paying for this subscription service if I
Yeah.
can't even get the Twins?
That's so stupid. Yeah, this is such a mess. Yeah, I mean, this actually, you guys should really check out this article on The Athletic, because it's really good. It's basically they're talking to owners and execs and stuff about, oh yeah, here's the thing about the court. So Diamond Sports Group is the parent company of Bally Sports. Diamond Sports Group, in case you guys aren't aware, is currently going through bankruptcy, and that's what's really messing everything up with Bally. And like Carson said, the Diamond is also in a dispute with Comcast. This month a dozen MLB teams carried on Diamond's Bally branded channels cannot be viewed by Comcast's roughly 13.6 million TV customers. This is, folks, guys, ladies and gents, we're in the year 2024. I remember my illustrious co-host is too young to remember this, and frankly, that's a good thing. But I remember the 90s, ladies and gentlemen, and I remember when you were lucky, we were lucky if we got one, we got like one baseball game of the week, and maybe a couple sprinkled in, during the week. There was no way to watch any game. And also I remember when Nesson, the New England Sports Network regional channel that carries the Red Sox. I remember when Nesson was a premium, you had to pay, the cable company an exorbitant amount of money every month just to get Nesson before they made Nesson free. My point is, Carson, I remember when it was technologically impossible to watch multiple games or to watch any game and any team at any time. We have we have the technology now. That the technology is not a problem anymore. Now we've got all these greedy a-holes squabbling over money, and we, the fans, are the ones who are suffering for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said that better myself.
I feel like the dude, if anyone's ever seen the movie Network, I feel like I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Like, and also, and the other side of this coin, as infuriating and as much as this sucks for fans, I think it's something like 18 of MLB's 30 teams are tied up in this mess. Or 12. It's basically half the league is tied up in this crap. And those teams, because of the uncertainty surrounding their TV revenue, have uncertainty around their revenue in general, which, contributed to the whole free agency fiasco this winter because teams just didn't know what their payroll was going to look like this year.
Yeah.
It's just a ripple effect.
Yep.
Well, hopefully once all this court stuff gets sorted out, hopefully we'll see an end to this. Maybe, we'll see this whole thing get figured out, and hopefully I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen. Well, I do know what needs to happen. I don't. MLB needs to nationalize its TV rights the way the NFL did. Um, I don't know if it's going to happen. But Carson, I feel like if enough, I know right now. Well, I know right now it's mostly the smaller market teams that are pushing for this, because the big market teams, your Red Sox, your Yankees, your Dodgers, your big market, you're basically your New York, your LA, your Boston, your big market teams, they don't care. They're not they're getting their revenue no matter what. But I mean, I feel like if enough, I could be being overly optimistic here. But I feel like if enough teams and enough owners and execs, you know, speak up and be like, hey, this is crap, something needs to be done, that maybe, just maybe, Rob Manfred and MLB will do the right thing.
God, I sure hope so.
Here's hoping. Yeah, because this is it's frankly, it's unacceptable. Yeah. So speaking of unacceptable, Carson, I feel like this is the millionth time this year that we've talked about pitcher injuries. But now, again, brought to us another great piece, brought to us by our friends at The Athletic. But I mean, talk about what a byline. Jason Stark and Ken Rosenthal. Like, anyways, this piece, we won't bore you with the whole thing. You guys can read it yourself. It's called, it's Can MLB Save the Starting Pitcher? And basically it's talking about, all the pitching injuries this year, but Carson, it's also talking about something much deeper and much more disturbing, that, one of the, when talking about a baseball game, it used to be that the first question out of any baseball fan's mouth was, who's pitching tonight? You might get a Pedro Martinez and a Randy Johnson, or, going back a little further, Sandy Koufax and Bob Gibson and names like that. Starting pitchers were like the reason to watch baseball. And now it just, it feels like that shifted. And mostly because of all these, these pitcher injuries. But basically this piece is, The Athletic surveyed execs and owners and whatnot, about how to fix this, frankly, this epidemic of pitching injuries. And a lot of it has to do with a shift in philosophy of analytics and whatnot. I won't bore you guys with that stuff. But the execs offered, here's some numbers. The decline of the starting pitcher. In 1975, I mean, this is actually pretty cool. In 1975, Carson, 75% of games pitched, the starting pitcher went 6 or more innings. Would you like to hazard a guess at where that number is in 2020?
It's probably a lot lower than that.
Yeah, it's 40% as of 2020.
Good God.
Now, granted, the 2020 season was abbreviated, because of COVID and whatever. Yeah, that's just wow. That's actually kind of mind blowing. But anyways, these execs and everybody who anonymous tossed out some interesting ideas for rule changes that might help with all this. And I just kind of wanted to spitball on some of these. The first new rule idea is every starter would have to go 6 innings. So in 2023, the length of the average major league start Yeah, the length of the average major league start was 5 innings. So that means that there were some starts that were fewer than 5 innings. Yeah, how about the starter goes 6 or more innings in every game? Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, a rule that says a starter has to go 6 innings, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's a little bit, I think, potentially might be a little bit over the top. But yeah, it is still very alarming at what is happening to the starting pitcher overall, not just injury wise, but it feels like their relief pitchers are coming in a lot earlier, and everybody's doing it because of the analytics, and it's just like, at the end of the day, a starting pitcher's got to be able to go out and give you at least 6 innings. I mean, that's what they do. That's what they're, and I've seen arguments too that with this whole injury thing, and the reason why their role is reduced is because there's been a shift overall in baseball, starting even at the youth level of you got to start to throw as fast as hard as you can, and that's what's leading to kind of all these early Tommy Johns and all of these kind of surgeries. But at the same time, like, we can't, I understand that analytics are a good thing in sports and are a good thing for the game, but you can't fully rely on analytics all the time. If your guy is out there dealing, and this will be brought up probably again in a mailbag question that we have later. If your guy, for example, hello Paul Skenes, if your guy is in the middle of a no-hitter,
yeah,
why are you taking him out?
Yeah.
I get it. His pitch count might be kind of high, but he's dealing. Let's bring in this reliever with like a 4.5 ERA. Oh, that's brilliant. Let's do that.
If I had my way, the whole pitch count thing would be sent to the fiery depths. I think pitch count is, I guess in some cases it's useful, but I feel like managers get too wrapped up in pitch count for their own good.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like, obviously pitch count is something that you need to pay attention to, because at the end of the day, you can't, you can't have a guy and again, this might be a little bit ridiculous, but you can't have a guy in the 5th inning at like 90 pitches.
Sure.
Like, obviously, there are cases where it's like, okay, you're throwing a no-hitter, great, but you're also at like 80 pitches in the 5th inning, which,
but if you've got a guy in the 7th, or if you're in the 6th inning or later and you're under 100 pitches, how many times have we seen a guy in the 6th or 7th inning in the midst of, I can't think of any specific examples right now, but I know we've talked about it before, where a guy's in the middle of a no-hitter and you're at 90 pitches in the middle of a no-hitter in the 8th inning. Well, we gotta get him out. It's idiotic. Yes, analytics. I realize we live in the golden age of technology, and I realize we live in the golden age of analytics, and I think analytics in sports, especially in baseball, have their place. But I feel like, Carson, I feel like we've gone a little too far in the other direction, where teams are relying on analytics too much.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, again, they're a good part of the game, but there's just a certain point where you got to leave the computer at home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and honestly, I could do wow. Yeah, I could go on a whole rant about analytics, especially in baseball. I could do without the launch angle and the exit velocity and all that stuff. Yeah, it's kind of cool. One thing I could do without, and I think it's only ESPN that does this on their baseball broadcasts, Carson, I could do that. I could do without the win probability. Like,
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't care if one team has a 67.33197.8% chance of winning the game. I don't care.
Yeah, and that's one thing that watching the Minnesota United match last night. That's one of the things that they had put up in the corner at
Oh no.
kickoff. Is it was like, here's the probability for a win for Minnesota United. Here's the probability of a draw. Here's a probability of a win for Portland.
Oh,
And
come on.
and after each goal, they showed it again with the update of, all right, here's the updated probabilities. I'm like,
come on.
dude, Apple TV, I really don't care.
Yeah,
like,
we don't care. I don't care.
To quote one of the greatest coaches of all time, and Mike Tomlin, we do not care.
Oh man, greatest coaches of all time, huh? That's certainly a statement. We're just gonna leave that one alone. That's wow. That's high praise for Mike Tomlin. I mean, Mike Tomlin is a very good coach. Greatest, one of the greatest of all time. I think we'll just have to agree to disagree on that one. Anyways, yeah. So this pitching thing. This pitching thing is yeah. I mean, not to get too nostalgic or age myself too much, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago when it was a starting pitcher would go out and throw 7-8. I mean, Carson, I don't remember the last time I saw a start. Well, actually, I do, because it was Cutter Crawford. I was gonna say I don't remember the last time I saw a starting pitcher throw a complete game, but it was Cutter Crawford for the Red Sox just a couple of weeks ago. But I remember the days of Pedro Martinez and Randy Johnson and Mike Mussina and those guys, where like they thought nothing of going out and throwing a complete game, sometimes a complete game shutout. I remember Derek Lowe throwing no hitters. When was the last time we saw a perfect game? It was 2012? Felix Hernandez?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm pretty sure it was 2012. That was 12 years ago. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Seriously though, sometimes it's time to put the computer away. Analytics are good for sports for the most part. But it almost feels like sports are going too far in the direction of analytics and technology and away from what makes sports great in the first place, which that's a whole other discussion for another time. One more quick thing from this article, something that was suggested. So the Independent Atlantic League, which for those of you who don't know, has basically been a testing ground for MLB rule changes. That's where the pitch clock started. That's where the shift ban and the bigger bases and basically all the rule changes we've seen over the last few years. What do they call it? The automatic runner in extra innings, the ghost runner, whatever you want to call it. That all these things were all initially tested in the Atlantic League, which is independent but is also affiliated with MLB. So Carson, in the Atlantic League, they started. Oh, this I'm in favor of. This I would like to see. I don't know if MLB will ever do this, but I would love to see this because wow. The Atlantic League since 2023 have used a version of this rule. If your starting pitcher leaves the game before the end of the fifth inning, then your designated hitter has to leave with him. They call it the double hook, and I love it.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Think about the strategy. I love it.
Yes, there's a strategy element to that, but
No,
I
you're
don't
not a
know.
fan.
I'm gonna have to simmer on that one, but initially I'm not a fan.
Um, yeah. So it says why the double hook might actually work. People in baseball like this rule. If the idea is to incentivize but not require keeping a starting pitcher in the game, what works better than this? Leave your pitcher out there or bench one of your most dangerous hitters. Surprisingly, some of the most prominent starting pitchers in baseball, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Adam Wainwright, among others, have publicly come out and been fans of the double hook. That's wow.
That
That's
is
some
interesting.
endorsement.
Yeah.
Um, More front office minds also seem open to this concept. Uh, more open to this concept than many others. A nationally executive, obviously anonymous. I have been in favor of the double hook for a while. I think it would be interesting to have it as an extra element of strategy. There you go. There's my favorite word. Into the game for managers to think about. Gives them another decision they have to make in game, which I don't think is a bad thing in general. Um, I mean, I'm pretty sure, Carson, every designated hitter in Major League Baseball would hate this.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I mean, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. It's a crazy idea. But it's I just wanted to throw that out there because I think it would be chaotic. I think it would be chaos, and I think it would be awesome. Um, Although I think it could use it could probably still use some tinkering. But it's out there. It's an idea. Um, but in any case, the starting pitcher is going the way of the dodo, and not just because of all these injuries. So that's where we're at, I guess. When it comes to starting pitchers in baseball. All right. Whoops. Did I hit that? No, I hit the right. No, I didn't. There we go. Hit the wrong button. Sorry. All right, let's play some buy or sell. Let's just dive right into these. Carson, buy or sell that Pete Alonso will not be a New York Met next year.
As much as I want to sell this, I feel like I have to buy it. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like these two have been heading for kind of a divorce for a little while now. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I just think that Pete Alonso is going to command a lot of money as he should. And I don't know if the Mets will be willing to fork it over.
Yeah, the Mets are in kind of a tricky situation with their payroll this year and last year. They've been in sort of a payroll limbo. Supposedly they're going to have a lot of money freed up next year or this coming off season. But I actually wrote about this on Two Strike Count. And I'm trying to find my. I'll just. Yeah, so I'll just sort of read this for you guys. I'm buying this, by the way. I do not think Pete Alonso will be a Met next year. Um, uh, let's see here. Pete Alonso is a key valuable piece for the Mets, homegrown talent. Yeah, basically what this comes down to is how big of a priority is keeping Pete Alonso on the roster down there in Queens. But yeah, I mean the Mets are gonna have money to spend. But Pete Alonso's agent is our favorite, Scott Boras, Carson. So that's another factor in this thing.
What a surprise! It's Scott Boras again.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And the other thing that plays into this is there are going to be other big names on the market this winter. Some guy named Juan Soto and another dude named Corbin Burns are both going to hit the free agency market this winter. So, you know, sorry, Mets fans, but I don't. I hope I'm wrong. For Mets fans, for all you Mets fans out there, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Pete Alonso. I hope him and the Mets find a way to get a deal done and for him to stay in New York. But I just, at this point, I just don't see it. So, all right, the aforementioned Paul Skenes. Buy or sell, Skenes is enough to get the Pirates to the playoffs.
I mean, he's been good, but he's been great actually, as we kind of talked about earlier. But he needs some help. I got to sell this right now. He is the kind of guy where you need to start building that core around him. Start building the rotation around him. Start getting, O'Neal Cruz and Cabrian Hayes are obviously going to be key parts of that team when Cabrian Hayes comes back from injury. But for right now, I gotta say sell. I still think they're a year or two maybe away.
Yeah, I'd really like to buy this because I just really want to see the Pirates do well, and I mean, God knows Pirates fans have suffered long enough. I'm selling this for now. Like Carson said, I think they're a year or two away. I think it depends on the pieces they put around him. Which, Carson, it has seemed, at least in the last couple of years, that the Pirates are willing to go out and spend a little bit.
Yeah, which is good, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come.
Yeah, and which is a nice change of pace from maybe from past years, but yeah, no, I gotta sell this for now. I'm selling this simply for the fact that, as great as Paul Skenes has been, one, we don't know if he's going to continue to be that good, and two, he can't go out and hit and score runs. So he needs help from his offense. But Carson, I think you and I would definitely agree that the future is looking really, really good, pretty damn good there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, very much so.
They've got some really good young talent there. So, hang in there, Pirates fans. Your day's coming. I can feel it. I think, yeah, I would say, Carson, I would say within the next 2-3 years, we're going to see the Pirates as a playoff team and as a contender.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. Speaking of the great state of Pennsylvania, or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, as it were, the Philadelphia Phillies have been just tearing it up. So Carson Beyer said that the Phillies should be the current World Series favorites.
100% buying this. They have looked very impressive as of late, and Alec Boehm continues to still be one of the hottest hitters in baseball. Zach Wheeler has looked absolutely tremendous this season. There's no reason for me why they shouldn't.
I'll give you a reason why the Philadelphia Phillies shouldn't be the World Series favorites. Because this current World Series favorite should be the Baltimore Orioles, ladies and gentlemen. I'm selling this. The Orioles, I'm telling you right now, the Orioles are the team to beat. They're stacked. They're getting healthy. They're playing great baseball, even though they did just lose to my Mariners yesterday, but that's beside the point. In a 7 games, man, first of all, how epic would an Orioles-Phillies World Series be?
Would be Would be pretty interesting.
That would be a pretty epic World Series. Phillies Orioles, yeah, sign me up. Sign me up for 7 games of that. In a 7-game series, I'm taking the Orioles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely fair, but I don't know. I know that everybody talks about how veteran presence matters and blah blah blah, but
Sure.
I don't know. I really do think that that plays a huge role, and especially on paper. By the way, I would sign me up for a 7-game World Series of that all day long. Um,
Right.
but
But you think the Phillies, because of their veteran players, have an edge?
I think that the veteran players have an edge, and just kind of looking up and down the lineup, I think the Phillies do still have some advantages.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of I'd put first and foremost, like I still think JT Real Muto is one of the best catchers in the game.
Agreed.
Adley Rutschman is certainly on his way there. Um,
Yeah, he
but
is.
but again, I think a lot of it comes down to kind of that veteran presence. A lot of these guys have been World Series. Bryce or Trey Turner's won a World Series before.
Yep.
These guys have been in the postseason. They know what it takes.
Yep.
And right now they should be the undisputed favorites.
Wow. Undisputed favorites. Um, my only question mark with the Phillies. Yeah, they're playing really good baseball. Yes, they're racking up the wins. And this isn't really their fault, but they've sort of been beating up on bad teams as of late. And I know that's not their fault. I know they can only play the schedule in front of them, but I'm holding out on crowning the Phillies until I see them play some stiffer competition.
That's fair. I mean, we'll get our first real chance. They start a series with the Texas Rangers on Tuesday, so
Ooh, there you go.
we'll get to see what
Although
they're.
the Rangers haven't been very the Rangers have been a little shaky themselves, but so far this year, but that is a really good series. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, and last but not least, I have a feeling where my Minnesota Twins loving co-host is going to come down on this one, but we'll see. He may yet surprise me. Carson, buy or sell the Guardians City Connect jerseys?
Look, I do not like Cleveland, but I love these jerseys. They're so nice. Like they are
Yep.
clean. My only gripe with them is just Nike, Fanatics, whoever. With these City Connect jerseys, can we stop with the whole 3-letter abbreviation on the front of the jersey? My God, it feels like every other team is like it's like CLE, or I saw a leak of the Cardinals jerseys, and even the hats
The
say
Lou.
STL on them. I'm just like, and
Yeah.
then the jerseys say the Lou. I'm like, what is happening? Can we not get a little bit more creative here?
Yeah. Yeah, they have gotten a little crazy with the abbreviations. Yeah, what happened to we didn't get a chance to talk about them because we were off, but I really really like the Tiger City Connects with Motor City on them.
Those are quite nice, yes.
Those are nice. Yeah, it just feels like I'm buying the Guardians ones, by the way, because one, they look really nice. Two, they give me serious 90s Cleveland Indians vibes, which is definitely a good thing. Actually, Carson, the first thing I thought when I saw these was the first thing I thought of was Major League.
Yeah, fair.
They just give me that sort of like cool, sort of retro vibe. But yeah, I mean, these City Connect jerseys, man, these things have been all over the place. Some of them have been really, really good, and some of them it just feels like they didn't even try. Looking at you, Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, hi Philly.
those Phillies, the Phillies ones. I'm sorry, Phillies fans, but those are just no.
They're not great.
No. I get what they were trying to go for, but yeah. Yeah, they're not the greatest. So anyways. Yeah, no, I love the Guardians ones are really cool. All right, that's it for buy or sell. Let's move on to the mailbag. We'll start with Addie K. I think this is the question you were alluding to earlier, Carson. Do you think combined no hitters should be recognized / recorded?
It was indeed the question I
figured.
was referring to, but look, at the end of the day, I get both sides of this issue. I come down personally on the side of yes, they should, because at the end of the day, a no hitter is still a no hitter. But at the same time, I do understand the side where it means a little bit less because it's three different guys rather than
more.
just one. Right, sometimes more than that, rather than just one guy who has a absolutely phenomenal performance. Which I do get that argument, and I do understand where people come from on that argument. But for me, at the end of the day, it's still a no hitter. It's still a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, even if it's multiple pitchers doing it, 2, 3, 4 pitchers doing it, I mean, holding a major league lineup to 0 hits, is, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's no small feat. But yeah, I mean, as far as I don't know. I feel like every time one of these happens, Carson, it's all over social media. It's all over, the sports sites. And okay, it's cool, but and it's an impressive feat, but sometimes I think the sports media makes a little too big a deal about it.
And I think that's certainly a valid point.
I just, I don't think a combined no hitter is worthy of the same kind of attention as a solo no hitter or the ever elusive perfect game. Obviously,
Well, in no way should it get the more attention than a perfect game.
right? Well, no, and I'm not saying it does. Of course, we haven't had a perfect game in 12 years, but I feel like these combined no hitters are getting as much hype as a solo no hitter, and I think a solo no hitter should get more hype and more attention.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
I just think it's more impressive for one pitcher to do it, and 3 or 4. Not that it's I don't know. I don't know how to phrase that without offending somebody. Like I'm not saying that a combined no hitter is not impressive because it is, but I just feel like it shouldn't get as much hype as a solo no hitter. Although solo no hitter is much the way of the starting pitcher, seems to be going the way of the dodo because these guys are getting ganked. They're getting the hook after 80 pitches. In the before they even get a chance to finish off a no hitter. But I don't know, man. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm not sure we'll ever see another perfect game.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nuts.
And that makes me really upset because perfect games are one of the coolest things to happen in sports. I pretty vividly remember Felix Hernandez's perfect game in 2012. And yeah, it makes me really sad to think that we may never see one of those ever again. But I mean, hopefully we do. But I don't know. It seems less and less likely. With every passing year and with all the changes to pitching and strategy and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. Hannah C. Speaking of things that may never happen, Do you guys think we'll ever see MLB expand to 32 teams?
I mean, it's certainly possible. It's certainly possible. I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen. But at the same time, it feels like it's gonna be quite a while from now, which is fine. Sometimes expansion can be good, but sometimes you don't want to expand until you're ready, and that's why expansion happens so little. So, will do I think it will eventually happen? Yes. Do I think it's anytime soon? No.
Yeah, no, I don't see it happening in the foreseeable future. Simply because of the fact that you've got Carson. Before MLB can even think about expansion, well, one, they need to sort out this issue with. They need to sort out all the drama surrounding the Oakland A's and their possibly, maybe not move to Las Vegas, which, oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is still up in the air because Mr. Fisher still hasn't secured funding from Las Vegas and Clark County. So there's that. I know we've supposedly seen plans for a new stadium in Tampa, Carson, but something's got to be done about Tropicana Fields too.
Yeah, absolutely. Something needs to be done. That thing is
It's a dump.
to use a Tropicana, to use something related to Tropicana itself. That thing is like the orange juice that you find sitting in the back of your fridge that's been there for like 3 years.
The chunky orange juice.
That is Tropicana Field at this point.
Yeah, the place is such a dump. But yeah, I mean, one, as Major League Baseball, you've got to get those two issues sorted out. You can't expand when one of your franchises, where they're going to play, they don't even know where they're going to play, and the other one is playing in a stadium that, quite frankly, would be better suited for arena football than Major League Baseball. And two, I think the other issue that Major League Baseball has to get sorted out before they think about expansion, they've got to get this TV rights thing figured out.
100%.
You can't have all this uncertainty around half your league's TV revenue and payroll and think about expanding. You can't do it. So yeah, I mean, no, I don't see it in the foreseeable future. I think we'll see the NBA expand before MLB does.
Yeah, because they're definitely going to put a team in Vegas for sure,
and put a team back in Seattle.
Yes,
hopefully.
Please.
Yeah. Give Seattle back the Supersonics, please. But yeah, I don't see it happening in the foreseeable future, which kind of sucks because there are definitely cities where I would love to see Major League Baseball. I know we've talked about it before: Nashville, Charlotte, Portland, Oregon. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Montreal.
Gee, who would have thought that a team in Montreal would work, huh?
A Major League Baseball team in Montreal? Surely you just. Yeah, no, seriously, there are definitely there's no shortage of cities where I'd love to see Major League Baseball. Most of all, seeing the Expos brought back to Montreal, but yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon. Jason M, which player has or had the sweetest swing you've ever seen?
This one made me think for a very, very long time.
Oh, really? This was a no-brainer for me. But go ahead.
But at the end of the day, I loved watching Big Papi swing the bat. I absolutely loved it. I don't know what it was, but
I always thought he had an ugly swing.
And again, maybe that's just
Huh.
childhood. Maybe that's just childhood nostalgia of watching Big Papi. But
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I always thought he had kind of an ugly swing, to be honest. I mean, you can't argue with the results, though.
yeah, and maybe that was part of it too. Was just that it was a very successful swing, no, even if it was kind of ugly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a pretty swing doesn't always equal results. So, by the way, since you brought up Big Papi, I'd like to take this opportunity once again to thank the Minnesota Twins for trading him to the Boston Red Sox.
Why you got to do that to me?
To be fair, Big Pop David Ortiz when he was with the Twins was not David Ortiz when he was with the Red Sox.
No, he was not.
Yeah, he was not the same player. So the Twins get a free pass on that one. I probably would have traded him too at that point. Now, man, I gotta be honest. This might be some of the questions you guys send us. Some of them like really stump us, and really, like the next one. But this one. I mean, I didn't even like. I read the question and I was like, "Yep, it's this guy." The sweetest swing I've ever seen, and I don't think anyone will ever have a sweeter swing. The swing that an entire generation of '90s kids grew up trying to emulate on the Little League diamond. Ken Griffey Jr.
Griffey did have a pretty looking swing, that's for sure.
The man had a buttery smooth swing. The man had a gorgeous swing. I've never seen a swing like that. I had never seen a swing like that before. I haven't seen a swing like that since. There have been some players, some more modern players with some pretty sweet looking swings. Miguel Cabrera, Carson comes to mind. Miggy had a pretty sweet swing, but now, as far as I'm concerned, nobody will ever have a sweeter swing than Ken Griffey Jr. His watching that dude swing a bat was just like it was poetry in motion. So, and like I said, it inspired an entire generation of us '90s kids to grow up and try to emulate that swing, even though obviously we couldn't. But we might not have been able to emulate a swing. But we damn well all emulated his batting stance. So, yeah, that's, oh man, yeah, seriously, for any of you who never got a chance to see Ken Griffey Jr. play, live or in person or whatever, do yourself a favor and just go YouTube Ken Griffey Jr. highlights. Or better yet, watch I think it was was it the 98 home run derby? Yeah, I think it was 98 at Coors Field. Seriously, just Google, just YouTube, just go to YouTube and look at Ken Griffey Jr. and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This next question, however, was the complete opposite of easy. Ben R. Carson would like to know, who would we put in our dream pitching rotations?
Oh, man.
Yeah, this one sucked.
Ben, come on, man.
Making us think and everything.
2 questions in a row that are making me think. But all right, dream pitching rotation, and obviously we're doing a full 5-man rotation.
5-man rotation, yes.
So, all right, my first and foremost, I'm putting Johan Santana in there. This is, by the way, in no particular order, right. But I'm putting Johan Santana in there, of course, because that was my guy growing up. So, real shocker on that one, I know.
Yep.
This was so hard, and even now I'm debating what I want this rotation to look like. but Johan Santana's in there for sure. I'm going to put Randy Johnson in there.
Yep.
I'm going to put in Ann. I mean, already, I could almost just end it right there with those two. You ain't getting past me. But I'm gonna put in. I'll give him a little shout out here. I'll throw Clayton Kershaw in there for a little bit
Nice.
more of kind of a longevity and
Sure.
type of guy.
Yeah.
I'll put in. Okay. I need to make sure that he was a starter before I put him in here because this guy was massively underrated, but I just need to make sure that I'm remembering this right. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and put Jake Peavy in there.
Nice.
So what is that? Is that 4, 3?
That's
I got Johan
that's
Santana.
4.
Yeah, Johan Santana, Randy Johnson, Peavy, Peavy and Kershaw.
That's 4.
And then I'll give a nice little throwback on this one. In my number 5 spot, give me Sandy Koufax.
Oh, nice. That is definitely a dream rotation. Holy crap.
Good luck to any opposing batters. That's all I can say.
That rotation would go 162-0, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm with you on Randy Johnson and Johan Santana, obviously. But yeah, those actually, yeah, none of these were easy. Well, Randy Johnson was an easy pick. But this was tough. Because every time I'm telling you guys, I must have filled this out like 5 or 6 times and then looked and went, oh, I forgot. I would realize who I left out. I'd be like, oh, I forgot so-and-so. Yeah, so I did this a bunch of times, but here we go. In no particular order. Pedro Martinez, because how can I not? Randy Johnson, duh. Johan Santana, duh. The aforementioned King Felix Hernandez, the last MLB pitcher to throw a perfect game. And my number 5 spot, I went a little, I might have gone a little outside the box with this one, but I was doing this and something made me think of this player. And I remembered how much fun he was to watch on the mound and might not always have been, might not be on any of the, greatest pitchers of the whatever lists or anything, but I don't really give a damn. Mr. Roy Halladay.
Ooh, yeah. That's a very solid rotation, I must say.
Roy Halladay was always must-see TV every time he took the mound.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest. All of these guys were. But yeah, this was tough. I don't know. Like I said, man, I don't know about you, but every time I got done, I was like, oh crap, I forgot so and so. I don't know if you had the same problem, but.
Oh yeah, big time.
And then I'd be like, you idiot! How could you leave this person off? So yeah. Anyways, yeah, that was tricky. Oh, and last but not least, Zach B. Is Luis Ariz the missing piece that will put the Padres over the top?
My guess is that Zach is probably a Padres fan.
Or he's a concerned Dodgers fan.
Or he could be a concerned Dodgers fan. Very possible.
Yes, but you're probably right. Probably a Padres fan.
But Zach, to answer your question, I think he's a start, but I don't think that he is the final piece of the puzzle.
What else do you think they need?
I mean, taking just just kind of taking a look at this team just based on the eye test, I think you know I think a lot of things have been very good for them so far. Um, Robert
Mm,
Suarez is one of the best closers in baseball, which is very nice to see. But I'd like them to maybe get another maybe another long reliever or maybe another pitcher to kind of complement Dylan Cease. Um,
yep.
but Luis Ariz is a very good start, for sure. Adds a lot to that lineup. Obviously, we've kind of talked about, and it seems like he's probably going to be more of a DH than anything.
Sure.
Um, but but yeah, they're 7.5 games back of the Dodgers, and Luis Ariz will certainly help kind of catch up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's like Carson said. I don't think he's the piece. He's definitely. I mean, you obviously the Padres definitely got better by going out and getting Luis Ariz. He's been off to a crazy hot start since he joined the Padres. I mean, you're talking about the 2-time defending batting champ here. So, yeah, he's just a pure he's a pure hitter. He puts some serious pop in that lineup. But yeah, I think you're on the right track with some pitching depth. They definitely couldn't go wrong there. But yeah, getting Luis Ariz is a huge boost for the Padres. Huge. That was a huge move for them. But yeah, as the missing piece to put them over the top, no. A missing piece, definitely. And yeah, if they go out and get some pitching depth, like Carson said, someone to sort of complement Dylan Cease, yeah, I could see the Padres doing some damage, in the NL West. All right, everybody, that's the mailbag. Don't forget to drop us a line at eighth-inning-pod.com/mailbag or eighth-inning-stretch@gmail.com, and we might just read your message on an upcoming episode. Sort of quick here, some must-watch games. Starting tomorrow, starting Monday for us. The aforementioned Padres visiting the Atlanta Braves. That's going to be a fun series. My Mariners head to New York to take on the red hot Yankees. That's a big test. And also, the history there between the Yankees and the Mariners. What else have we got? We've got the series Carson mentioned, the Phillies hosting the defending World Series champ Rangers. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. There's not a whole lot else. Yeah, there's some kind of crappy. There's some kind of crappy stuff on the schedule the next few days. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for as far as what jumps out to me.
Yeah, I mean, we AJ, we've been a little bit off of it, but we do indeed have a tankathon, and
Yay!
it was pretty easy to figure out this tankathon. Starting on Monday in our friends to the north up in Toronto, it is the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Chicago White Sox.
Oh God,
Which
that is
yeah, barf.
bad. Yeah. Geez, are the Blue Jays really doing that bad? I honestly haven't been paying attention. I mean, I know the White Sox are abysmal.
They are currently sitting at 19-25.
Okay, so pretty well under the 500 mark.
So yeah, not great.
Oof, Blue Jays fans. Man, that's just that team is way too good to be that bad.
Yep.
Is your seat getting a little toasty there, Mr. John Schneider? Because it should be. Yeah, talk about hot seats. All right, that's it for most watching games in Tankathon, and now it is on to one last thing. Not really anything too crazy for one last thing for this time for me. But I've been to a couple of Rockies games this season. Yeah, I know. You're thinking, why would you spend money to go see the Rockies? Actually, I watched the Colorado Rockies kick the crap out of the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers a few days ago. 8-3, I think, ended up being the final score. The Rockies just went off on the Rangers. But more importantly, not so much the fact that I've been to a couple of Rockies games this year. Oh, by the way, tickets are ridiculously cheap. That's why, and I love baseball. But I've now been to a couple of games, more importantly, involving the pitch clock. And I've sort of made some observations. First of all, the pitch clock has done exactly what it was intended to do. It has sped up the game. It's definitely sped up the game. It's definitely cut down on the dead time. I do think it still needs some tweaking in terms of how much time pitchers have when players are on base versus how much time they have when nobody's on base. But that's another thing for another time. All in all, I'm a fan of the pitch clock. I like it. I think it was much needed. But I did make some observations about how it affects the rest of the fan experience. Pre-pitch clock, you had time in between innings to get up and stretch and go get another beer or another pretzel or another hot dog or whatever, in between innings. And that's pretty much gone with the pitch clock, because now I think it's something like there's like 2 minutes. Like at the end of the half inning, the pitch clock, the timer resets to like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, something like that. And either way, it's not a lot of time. So that's pretty much gone. Like your opportunity to get up during the in between innings, to get up and hit the concession stand or the bathroom or whatever, that's pretty much gone. And I honestly don't know how I feel about that. I'm kind of not a fan. I'm glad they've cut down on the dead time, because as much as I love baseball, sitting at the ballpark for 3+ hours, for a 9-inning regular season game in the middle of June, it was a lot. But the pitch clock has gotten rid of that, which is a good thing. But it's also affected the fan experience itself. Because we've now lost that downtime in between batters and in between innings. Even the 7th inning stretch, the 7th inning stretch used to be, the 7th inning stretch, get up, stretch, walk around, hit the concession stand before they stop selling beer. Although now they sell beer until the middle of the 8th inning because the games are moving so much faster, which is, that is what it is. I like what the pitch clock has done for the pace of play and for the game on the field. I'm not so much a fan of what it's done to the experience off the field. But if it's a trade-off between not being able to go get that last beer and having a game, wrap up in 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2.5 hours, rather than 3 hours and 15 minutes, I guess that's where we're at. And I guess that's a trade-off we have to make.
Yeah, well said. And
sorry, that was a bit rambly, but
no, it's good. It's
just
definitely fair.
it's just stuff I've noticed. Just observations I made because I hadn't been to a game with the pitch clock until this year. So obviously, but yeah, it's definitely changed the experience. It's definitely it's definitely changed the experience. And I got to be honest, it's kind of awesome being, it's kind of awesome having the game over in 2 hours and 15 minutes, and getting out of the ballpark at a decent time and therefore getting home at a decent time for night games. That's kind of cool. But
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, for my one last thing, I had a few different topics that I was potentially thinking about, and talking about went to a AAA game for the first time in a long time,
Oh, nice.
or
I'm
talking
jealous.
or talking about and doing a little review on the Peacock documentary I got into yesterday about the 1990 New York Yankees, but
I saw that.
I'll probably save that for when I actually finish it because I'm not quite done with it. But for those of you who don't like when one last thing is not about baseball,
Oh boy, here we go.
You can go ahead and turn off now because we need to talk about Harrison Butker.
Oh, I knew this was coming. I've been waiting for this.
Look, here's okay. In case you are
get your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. This is gonna be good.
In case you have been in case you've been living under a rock for the past, I don't know, week at least. Oh boy. Apologies, by the way, if this thing gets a little rambly and because my thoughts aren't exactly put together on this. But Isabel Butker's husband, who he will be referred to from now until the end of this, is a kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, who, in case you've been living under a rock, made a certain speech at a commencement ceremony at a Catholic college, and basically talked about how he thinks that most of the girls who were in the audience would be most excited about fulfilling their vocation as wives and as mothers instead of, using the diploma that they had worked for 4 years in order to acquire. Let me start by saying this. I found a clip online as this was trending all over social media, of something that, oddly enough, somebody that I don't really agree with a whole lot, Whoopi Goldberg, had said on The View about this situation, in that, at the end of the day, those are his beliefs. I don't necessarily have to agree with them. He was speaking at a Catholic college. He is a devout Catholic. Those are his beliefs. But at the end of the day, that also doesn't mean that I can't tear him to shreds for having said beliefs. I don't even know where to start in how infuriated I am about this. I mean, let's just start with the point of basically the fact of, let's start with, before even that part of this speech, basically talking about, talking smack about the president, and he talks about how, like, masculinity has been lost in society today, and it's like, apparently his definition of masculinity, as well as the whole family construct, still lives in the 1960s, where the man comes home from work and he's expected to be greeted with a sandwich. But and look, again, I understand that these are his beliefs. I'm not trying to slam him for his beliefs. Everybody has their own belief system, but at the same time, it's just like, know your audience. Like, what were you thinking here? These guys just worked to get these degrees. And, like, for example, I just recently got a new role within my company. My boss is a woman. Do I have an issue with that? Absolutely not. She's amazing. I really enjoy working underneath her. Like, what is the problem with girls going out and having? Oh, and that's a piece de resistance, AJ. Some of you may have great careers, is what he said. Some of you, not most of you, not at a college ceremony where they just put a ton of money in order to work towards their career goals and dreams. Some of you will have good careers. But most of you, oh, you're excited to be a wife. You're excited to be a mother. I know that my wife didn't really feel her purpose in life until she became a wife and a mom. That is such utter, like, saying that it's bullshit is an insult to bullshit. Like, that is vomit that is mouth diarrhea from
Word vomit.
Butler's husband here. And again, I refuse to call him by his name simply because of this, but it's just like I don't and this whole speech was anti-homophobic and came off as sexist and there were people like, "Oh, I'm glad he's standing up for the traditional masculinity." Traditional masculinity has changed for the better.
Yep.
Like, mental health is important now. Like, the traditional masculinity has changed. The traditional role of the woman in society has changed. Hello, Harrison. It is the year 2024. Wake up. It's just so infuriating that there are still people out there that have these beliefs. And again, these are their beliefs. I just happen to think they're wrong extremely. But it's so frustrating that we continue to take steps backwards as a society. It feels like instead of taking steps forward, where, you're addressing a group of college graduates. And again, I can't speak for them, but I can guarantee you more of them were excited about their careers and nobody was thinking, gosh, I worked so hard to get this degree. I can't wait to be a wife and a mom. Like, who's thinking that at their college graduation ceremony? Like, honestly. And it's so infuriating to have somebody and AJ, that's the crazy thing about this. This was at a graduation ceremony, and this was the topic of his speech. Pardon my language, ladies and gentlemen, but are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's the material you choose. You have this platform and you choose to say that to all of these kids who have worked so hard. And again, I'm sorry if this is coming off as super scatterbrained, but it's just so infuriating that is the time and place that he chose to say these things. So, Mr. Butker, from me to you, a sincere and utter fuck you.
Yeah, man. A bit scatterbrained, yes, but understandable and very well said. Yeah, screw this dude. He can F all the way off. And he can take anyone else who thinks this way can go with him. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, it's 2024 and sometimes it feels like it's 1954.
Yeah.
With the way
unreal.
some of these idiots with the way some of them think. And again, like you said, that's their belief system and people are free to believe what they want, but a nickel's worth of free advice, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, people are free to believe what they're free to believe what they believe. Everybody's got their own belief system. Everyone's got their own beliefs about, everything. But just because you believe a certain way does not, I repeat, does not give you the right to force that belief system on anyone else like Mr. Butker did.
Yeah, it's just it's just so infuriating that this still exists.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know, man. I guess those are just the times we live in. But yeah. Yeah, not your all-time great graduation speech. Yeah, our graduation speech is supposed to be about like inspiration and you're going out into the world and you're gonna kick ass and all this stuff. Isn't that like
Yes, exactly.
okay? Okay, I was just making sure
It's like,
because it's
congratulations for getting this diploma. Let's talk about your role in society.
you know the greatest graduation speech I've ever seen given by a celebrity was Robert De Niro. I think it was he gave the commencement speech at the Tisch School of Arts in New York. And he basically got, you guys can YouTube it. But he got up there and he congratulated and he said basically like, congratulations, you're fucked. Like, and it was very De Niro. Only De Niro could get away with that. But his point was like, congratulations on what you accomplished. Now you're screwed because now you're going out into the real world. Like he was giving them kind of a dose of reality. Like everything's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows out there. That's what graduates want to hear, not this screwed up, misguided, freaking, not this Handmaid's Tale bullshit.
Good reference.
Thank you. By the way, have you or anyone else seen the meme going around? It's a picture of Elizabeth Moss from The Handmaid's Tale in her, whatever you call it, the outfit there, the garments. But it's got the Kansas City Chiefs logo on it, and it says Harrison Butker's design for the new Chiefs cheerleaders uniforms.
I haven't seen that, but that's
pretty funny. It's making the rounds. It's out there. You guys will see it. It's pretty funny.
There's so many good Harrison. I've seen ones of like Harrison Butker when he finds out a woman logged into LinkedIn or.
Oh yeah. I've seen a bunch of them. Yeah, there is a bunch going around. But that one with the Chiefs thing is that one's, I got a good chuckle out of that one. I don't know, everybody. I just don't know. Sometimes I feel like Professor Farnsworth and I just go, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. But here we are. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, catch us live every Sunday or thereabouts. Speaking of which, we will not be on next Sunday because it's Memorial Day weekend. And also, I will be in the great state of Indiana, more specifically at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 500, which I can't even begin to tell you guys how excited I am. That is a huge item that I'm checking off my bucket list. So I wouldn't be around anyways, but it is Memorial Day weekend. More on that in a moment. Hold that thought. So live just about every Sunday on YouTube, Twitter, and on demand anytime at Linktree/8th Inning Stretch. Follow us on 8th Inning Pod. Follow us at 8th Inning Pod on Twitter, and for more, including our thrice weekly newsletter blog, Two Strike Count, which you can get delivered right to your inbox every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday by subscribing, and our original documentary series, The Book of Baseball, head to 8thinningpod.com and help us continue making the best indie baseball content this side of home plate by supporting the show using the QR code on your screen or at 8thinningpod.com/donate. If you are watching this or listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Next weekend is Memorial Day weekend. That's obviously it is a time to celebrate, and it also is a somber occasion remembering all the brave servicemen and women who have given their lives to their country over the years. That one hits a little close to home. For those of you who don't know or haven't heard this before, my best friend was killed in action in Iraq in 2006. And yeah, so Memorial Day always hits a little close to home for me. And I'm sure it does for a lot of you out there too. So Memorial Day is for remembering the servicemen and women who have given their lives, but if you do get the opportunity to thank someone for their service, please do, because they do like to hear that, and they do like to know that their their service is appreciated. I do it all the time. I see somebody wearing you see people wearing the veteran hats and stuff like that, or or stuff like that. Just take a second and do that, because it's important, and it means the world to those people. So I guess my point is, while you're barbecuing and drinking and partying, Memorial Day weekend, or at a baseball game maybe, or in my case at Indy, don't forget what Memorial Day weekend is and Memorial Day is really about. Yeah. So, anyways, that's all we got for you guys. Thanks ever so much for tuning in. Thanks for all your support. You guys are the best. You rock. You're awesome. We will be off next week. We'll be back the Sunday after, back to our regular scheduled programming. Two Strike Count will still be out every day next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Don't forget to head to eighth-inning-pod.com/Two Strike Count and subscribe to that. And as always, as we like to say at the end of every show, remember to take care of yourselves. Take care of yourself physically, mentally. Mental health is just as important. If you're struggling, if you're struggling, don't forget that there are people, there are people you can talk to. But yeah, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Because that's we're all we've got.